And happy Saturday. How are you guys doing? If you're new here and you first time coming to my channel, welcome. I'm Sissy, life coach and motivational speaker, as well as spiritual teacher as well, right? So my channel is about spirituality, it's about self-development, self-awareness. It's about exploring the human condition and getting to understand you as a human and understand people around you as well. So today's topic is very interesting because it's about demons. Now, we live in a world where there's light and darkness. There's a spiritual war that is playing on the background, okay, in this reality as we go on every single day. Now, there's light and there's darkness, and it's part of the duality. Because where you find light, you will find darkness as well, because of the fact that this is a place of duality, right? We came here to experience both the darkness and the light, all right? Some of us are tapping more into the darkness consciously with intention, and some of us are tapping more into the light consciously and with intention. So today's topic is about demons, the birth of the demons or the demonic realm, right? So since we know very well that we must have a villain in every story, the human story has heroes of the light, which is the angels, and then we have the villains of the story, which is the demons. Okay, the demonic realm. Okay, now both these realms have different type of powers. So let's go tap more into the demonic realm. The demonic realm is about separation. It's about being separate from the light. It's about the ego. It's about serving self. It's not about connection to others. It's serving the self. Just like how we will notice when people are doing demonic things, psychotic things, narcissistic behavior. It's about self. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining my live. Today we're talking about the demonic realm. We're talking about what is it and how it comes about and the history, a little bit of history around the demonic realm and what is it, right? So in this world, there's nothing to fear because this world is a place of duality. We must have a villain in every story. We must have heroes in our stories as well. In our collective consciousness, we have the heroes, which are the angels from the light realm, and we have the demons from the dark realm. Right now, I said to you early on that demons are a separation of light. It's away from God. It's about the ego. It's about feeding the ego. Now, the birth of the dark entities or the daimons or the demons created by human consciousness, this concept comes primarily from the spiritual or occultic or even esoteric and metaphysical traditions. And then also our religions speak about demons and devil and stuff like that. Now, rather than establishing science, it's not scientifically proven. However, what is scientifically proven is that everything is energy. So we have low frequency energy and we have high frequency energy, and human beings are energetic beings in a body form. Okay, now you can experience life in this reality in two ways: without a body or with a body. But everything is energy. So in most cases, people say they get possessed by demons. How can you be possessed by a demon? Remember, it's an energetic frequency, a frequency of separation from the light, from love, from oneness, from unity. So that type of energy is looking to take energy from others no matter what. Now, it's been said that daimons or demons are not here to hurt humans, not necessarily to hurt humans. They want to take energy from you, basically, okay? And because you have a need yourself, there's a form of emptiness within you. There's a need that you want something that you think that you cannot, you don't have the power, to get that thing. So people have this thing of having an agreement with the demon. The most powerful man-made demon is Baal. Baal, basically, it's about the human need to possess property. okay, to possess property. Before, it was only about land, because in those days, at the beginning, we had property, and animals and livestock was a sign of wealth. So the kings possessed lands, and in these lands were animals and crops and all the other stuff, which equated to the person's wealth or prosperity that he had. Okay, and this is also mentioned even in the Bible as well, that the land is your wealth. Okay, and because of humans' need to possess, we came about with a frequency of possession, which is basically Baal. Right now, in a modern world, it's not only about the land; it's about possession in general, possessing more money, more power. Okay, right. Hi, thank you, sweetie pie. Okay, disclaimer, my channel is not a religious channel. So I'm not looking at this perception or this concept around demons or daimons as a religious way. I'm not looking at it in a Christian way. I'm looking at it more in a metaphysical, spiritual, occultic, esoteric way, right? Because remember that outside religion exists a lot of other things. Okay, now a lot of spiritual practices and spiritual belief systems. All right, although there are some commonalities in what the Christian church created in the first century. No, yes, in the fourth century, long past the death of Christ, which is the central figure of the New Testament. Okay. The Old Testament is very interesting because there's a Baal is mentioned in the Old Testament, because Baal is an old energy, an energy of possession, of energy of greed, lack, and want. Okay, so you have greed, lack, and want. You want to possess. So Baal is all about helping human beings possess more, and the human being will do anything it needs to do to get what it needs to get, and it signs or it writes or it speaks into a contract with Baal, so it can able to get that power. A lot of our historical people that we look up to had an agreement with Baal because they went around plundering countries, plundering nationalities to get what they want. That's a demon of possession. Okay, so let's continue here. It's very interesting. The history of demons in the world, human history, is quite interesting. And we only see one point of view, because most of us that are Christian only see one point of view. And when you are Christian, you only see the Christian teachings. You don't see the other part of the story, because the Christian teachings only take what you want, what they needed you to hear and understand. They told you their own story with their own intention, the narrative. Okay, so that's why I don't look at things in a religious way. I look at it on a high level to try and understand, to observe it, not to criticize it, but to observe it. So the whole idea here is that when you're in fear, you don't have power. When you're in fear of things you don't understand, you're not a powerful being. Now, self-sovereignty is very important in this reality. And unfortunately, our religions take away our self-sovereignty, and we become powerless because we believe in a certain God or deity, Allah, or whatever you may call him, Jehovah, or Yahweh, or even whatever you may call it, right, to you. Now, when you are in a space of empowerment, you want to see things more out of the box. You want to hear more and understand more out of curiosity, because we came here to learn and expand, and curiosity allows you to open your consciousness without fear. Now, when I left the church and started exploring spirituality and trying to understand how does Christianity fit into the human story, because it's only a story, guys. We're only following a narrative, a story. Because even what's told in the Bible, it's stories that were told and written first verbally, and then they were scribed. People started writing things down. But we had the old tradition of verbal communicating, speaking about what happened in the past and stuff like that. And then people started writing things down, stories and narratives. Then it goes on from one generation to another generation. And then each culture, each family adapts a story and they live by that story. And they don't think out of the box. Where does the story come from? What is the total story of humankind? You understand? What are we doing here? What is my power? Because we didn't come here to be powerless. We came here to be powerful beings because we are natural creators. Okay, let's go back to the topic at hand. The idea proposes that dark entities, thought forms, daimons or demons, or energetic creations arising from the collective human consciousness. Repeating low frequencies, basically, okay? Because it's all about low frequencies. Remember, I told you in the beginning of my life, we have two polarities. We have our heroes, the white field, which is basically the angels, God, as you see him as a loving God, a kind God, a giving God. Then we have our villain, which is basically the devil, and we must have the demons or the daimons that actually work in that field, in that dark field, okay, basically. And I said to you that if everything is created by God, divine source, both the darkness and the light, then neither the two are enemies to each other, basically, right? So when you start looking for a villain in your story, you shall find a villain. When you start seeing yourself as a victim of demons, or you demonically possessed, you're not taking power of your sovereignty, because daimons or demons have an agreement with certain people that are wanting something that they feel powerless to actually get, right? So a demon of lust will come to somebody who desires to have the sexual power of some sorts, okay? So you're making agreements with that being by you engaging in that sexual acts and stuff like that. I mean, like, I'm talking not just normal sexual acts, but you engage in a lot of things, pornography and all those other stuff. You have an agreement with that entity, because these entities have been around for a very long time. Now, I said before, there's entities or spirits or demons created by humans ourselves, and there's old demons that have been there long before. Like, for example, in the book of Enoch, Enoch speaks about the demons, the demonic realm, and that parts of the Bible or the books, the teachings of that specific person, is that Enoch was excluded because Enoch's story did not match the narrative that the Roman Catholic Church wanted pushed. You understand? So they kept the book up because they gave you a lot of information you did not need to know. All you needed to know that you have this God, and this God has power over you, and that you are just a sheep, that you must follow everybody, this certain being, and you must give your power away, basically, right? That's the narrative there. You have no power. You like a child. You powerless, and if you don't abide to the 10 Commandments, in the Moses wrote to say that this is the rules of engagements of this God Yahweh. Okay, so you need to abide to these rules and conditions in terms of engagement with the deity or God. Okay, you understand? Now, let's continue. So when you're living in fear, you're not questioning these things because you're afraid of going to hell. Now, remember, we promised a hell if we're sinful. Then we promised a heaven if we are not sinful, if we're good people. Okay, but at the very same so-called Christian God in the Bible, he's killing people in the Old Testament. Yahweh is encouraging the Israelites who escaped from Pharaoh, it's 40 years in the desert, to find a promised land and kill every child, every woman, every animal of those beings that were living in that environment, or living in that land space that was taken over. Now that's plundering. You understand? That is demonic on its own, killing people so you can take their land. And then this whole thing has played out in human history. That's why we have wars, and we call them holy wars, because it's written in the Bible that a war of killing and plundering and making people suffer, from the children to the animals to the women and everybody else, are said to be some sorts of a holy war. And even if you look at in the Islamic religion, it's there as well. Guys, what I'm talking about here, I'm not criticizing. I'm stating facts that are real. I'm not saying these religions are somehow wrong, but you need to understand that everything is intertwined. The goodness and the evil is all intertwined. You understand? It's all intertwined. That's why the world it is the way it is, because this is a place of duality. The most powerful one is taught that you have the power to take from other people. Look at what's happening in 2026, 2025 with America and stuff like that, bombing Iran, bombing America and Israel, getting involved in all those dramas over what? Land. Baal is in control. Baal is in control in that situation. So your leaders that you'll praise and follow are actually Baal worshippers. They have contracts with Baal because, okay, number one, the greed and wanting something. Right, as I said before, the oldest made human demon is Baal. And it's mentioned in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, right? To have your needs met, you need to plunder and take from the other by all costs, by killing, by destroying, right? So that's what we are seeing now. Jesus turned water into whiskey. I learned it was wine, but it's okay even if you turned it into whiskey as well. But that's all about, what is it all about? Alchemy. It's about alchemy. Turning one thing to another. That story is about alchemy, basically. It's not about Jesus creating alcohol. It's about alchemy. It's about changing one thing to another, one form to another form, basically, right? But it's an interesting story as well. Okay, let me see who else. What do you think of Satanism then? Oh, being satanic, it's quite interesting because it's about separation. As I said, there's a darkness and there's the light. The light is close to God. It's within God. It's about unity consciousness. And in the darkness is about the opposite. It's about separation. Right? So satanic people that practice Satanism are in the darkness. They are away from oneness. They are separated themselves. They're feeding into the ego. Right? Because one thing, they need now energy. People that are away from darkness need energy, and that energy they will take no matter what from you. People with lights are always the one targeted, because people that are truly in demonic in that sense, and they lack light. And in this plane, we need light as human beings. Light is happiness, it's joy, it's peace, it's all the good vibration, it's love. And when you are practicing something like satanic worshipping, true one, not the fake one, is aesthetics, where people are wearing the jewelry and the skulls and all those things, but they're not really practicing it. It's just aesthetics. You know, like how people have the aesthetics of being religious or so pious, and they wear certain type of clothing, and you find it's just all about aesthetics. It's not the true belief and practice that the person has and that the person is following, right? So for me, I just think it's a choice, like everything else. Everything in this world is a choice. White Pancho says, of Egypt's firstborn, Exodus, every Egyptian firstborn dies during the final plague before the Israelites leave Egypt. Now, remember, in every story, you must have a villain. Now we have Egyptians, and the Egyptian king at the time as the villain, because remember that the Egyptians never had the same philosophy, the spiritual philosophy, as the Israelites, even before they left Egypt. They still had, they were people with different, like for example, different races of people coming together. So the Israelites were living there and kept there for a certain period of time, but their culture was different. And their belief was just different. And the Egyptians were the same as well. You understand? So that's where the whole story of xenophobia, disliking another group of people that look differently and act differently and believe differently than you. So it's all about separation. You understand? So it's all about separation. There has to be a villain in your story. In any movie you watch on the screen, in the movie theater, you always find a villain. The villain always makes the story more interesting. However, it adds to the polarity. It polarizes everything. And then we lose unity and oneness. There's no enemies. We create our own enemies because you see people are different. They believe in something different. That must be our enemy. They act different. They look different. They dress differently. It's all about separation. You understand? It's all about separation. Okay, somebody's writing a lot about the verses in the Bible. A curse warns that desperate people under siege will resort to cannibalism. Yeah, that's true as well. That's now we see that's what played out in the that we saw play out in the Epstein files. You understand? And they are people eating flesh because they want more power, and then we call it satanic. You understand? However, if you study and learn more about the satanic practices and stuff like that, and satanic movements and churches, you find it's different. There's some similarities, but you find that they don't do cannibalism. They don't eat human flesh. You understand? But they believe in certain ideologies of separation, ideologies of competition, ideologies that are totally different to what's supposed to be taught in the Christian Bible. But at the same time, the Christian church is also it has been behaving in some demonic behaviors as well. I can consume you without eating your flesh. I can consume your energy by keeping you in fear. I can consume you by keeping you dependent on me. I can consume your energy without eating your flesh. I can be like, I will make you under me. I will be a narcissist over you. You understand? There's many ways this thing can play out in the game of life, guys. It's very interesting. The whole concept of demons and daimons and our humans actually contribute to it. Right now, separation from source, from God, from the light. Okay, now let's go more into it. According to many spiritual teachings, the entities are not necessarily physical beings that exist independently. Instead, they are considered energetic constructs that feed on and are sustained by certain emotions, like number one, low frequency emotions. So demons, if you don't want a demon to be attached to you, raise your frequency. You understand? Move away from the frequency of fear, of hatred, of greed, of shame, of guilt, of jealousy. Move away from rage and aggression and anger. Move away from obsession, despair and violence. All these emotions make you very, very attractive to lower entities. Remember thought forms. Thought forms. A demon starts from a thought form. You understand? A thought form is a thing. And the more you think and you feed that thought form, the more you keep on feeding it by that belief, by its expanding, and you even act upon that belief, and you do some negative things. You understand? You fight with people, you violent to people online, you swearing, you insulting people that you don't agree on. You actually have a demon attached to you, and you don't even understand that you're already possessed, but you're going around criticizing every single person that doesn't have the same belief as you. You're going to criticize somebody, go to somebody who's on social media doesn't have the same belief of you as you, but you start now condemning that person and swearing them and insulting them. That's demonic. Judging other people, being harsh with other people, not accepting people for who they are. If you don't believe in what people are believing, then remove yourself from their company, because that's the way of the light. You understand? If you cannot show light and love over people, no matter if they have different opinions and perceptions than you, then move yourself or remove yourself physically from their appearance, from their sight. It's very important for you to understand that you have the power. So you can't go around, or you can, if you wish, to go around consulting people and criticizing them and telling them that they're subhuman, they're not really human, they are demonic because they don't believe in what you believe in. This is a place of duality. We have every single thing here. We have the light, and we have the middle path, and then we have the darkness, which is the left path, as they call it. You understand? And demons come from that perception of separation from the light. So when you personally feeling depressed in your family, depressed in your life because you can't find employment, or you're finding that your life is miserable because you're making choices that allow you to experience these negative things, and you don't take ownership of your experience, remember that It's about separation. Separation from self. I'm not taking ownership of the decisions I'm making. I'm the one that's drinking this alcohol. I'm the one that's beating my wife. Why I'm talking about being possessed by demons? Oh, I know what happened. It was not me. It's the devil. Now you're not taking ownership. Yet you put yourself in that frequency of fear and jealousy and rage, and you went and you lashed out. You dropped your frequency because of what? Because of fear, a fear of being isolated, a fear of being rejected. So you decided, well, this person is too beautiful for me. And I don't trust this person will be with me or wants to be with me. So let me just lash out and show her my frustration. You understand? That is demonic. You sang a lot here, Malavi. Is it right, Pancho? Uh, and why do the most Christian people speak bad about the Quran if the evil things are inside the Bible? Because of that, most of them don't understand. Most people that are Christian haven't read the Bible fully. They haven't explored it. I can tell you my honest truth, my lovey. There's one thing, when you are focusing on one thing, you become very biased, okay? When you're only focusing on one thing, you don't read other parts of your teachings and understand what they are, and really ask yourself these questions. I mean, in the Old Testament, there's a lot of atrocities there, right? And then the Quran has its own drama as well, okay? It has its own drama as well, because in the Quran, they say it's okay for a man to beat his wife. You understand? It's okay to beat his wife. The stuff that's in the Quran too as well, there is some stuff there that's not so wholesome as well. They're all separation. And if a family member changes and moves away from Islam, then you allowed to set them as outcasts or even kill them as far as killing them. You understand? So both these religions come from the same stem. Same stem. I'm more better, I'm more superior. And if you don't practice what I'm practicing, then you must be condemned, you're going to hell. And then remember, Quran also condones war, spiritual war, as they call it, you understand? Yeah. So both these books are not perfect. But Christians normally focus on one thing. And in most of the Islam people haven't really explored the Quran very well. Because their religion is, it's a culture. It's a culture, it's a way of life. Or my mother was, or my father was, both, or Islam. This is an Islamic country. Even their countries are Islamic. There's no freedom of exploring any other philosophy, especially if you're born in the what you call countries, the Eastern countries like Saudi Arabia, or the Eastern Bloc, with all those different countries, Qatar, so many of them, Iran is part of them as well. A lot of the countries that are Islamic and Arabic in nature, you understand? You don't question because it's a way of life. This is what we are. We are Muslims. And we don't question anything. Theirs is even more tighter because it's part of their culture. We dress in a certain way. Women must only dress like this in public and with their family. A woman cannot walk in the streets without a man holding her hand, either a brother or a husband. It has to be a man. Although in some of these countries it's now less stringent and strict. They're more westernized now. Like, for example, in Dubai, they're quite westernized, although their women are strictly only to wear black clothes when they're in public. And only at home with your family, you can wear normal clothes. You understand that kind of thing? And yeah, okay, but there's a lot going on both sides, both Christianity and Islam. And nobody has the right to judge neither of the two because they both come from the same stem, the same root. You understand? Yeah, so let's continue. According to spiritual teaching, dark entities are not necessarily physical beings that exist independently. They don't exist independently. They're depending on us. Don't be afraid of a demon or a daimon because it's an energetic construct. It cannot hurt you. It cannot hurt you. It cannot hurt you. It cannot take over you because you are a human being, right? You have more power than a daimon or a demon, right? Now, as I said, when you soak into yourself into low frequencies like fear, hatred, greed, shame, guilt and jealousy, rage and possession, despair and violence, and other low frequencies like self-doubt. Self-doubt is a door to a lot of low frequency thinking, because you start doubting yourself, you start doubting that you're safe where you are, you start doubting your security and your safety, then you start having paranoia feeling or thoughts of somebody's trying to attack you and all those things right now. Remember, everything is thought. This game is a game of the mind. It's thoughts. You understand? And these entities are created from our low frequency emotions coming from our thoughts. You understand? So there's nothing to fear when it comes to demons or daimons, because remember, there's two types. There's the old type that not created by human beings that were here at the beginning, and Book of Enoch speaks about that. If you want to learn more about the demonic realm, go more into other books, like for example, go and try and read and find the book of Enoch, right? The book of Enoch, right? And if you're afraid, don't go in there. If you're still living in fear and you're still doubting your own power as a human being, as a sovereign being, do not go into it, because you will find yourself spiraling into fear when you read that book. First of all, it's going to give you a lot of confusion, because most of the stuff there is not like straight cuts. And you know what I'm trying to say? It's very confusing because of the way it was translated from other language to English. So it won't have the same type of clarity, basically, okay? So you have to actually approach this type of content literature with an open heart and not in fear. When you're in fear, your frequency drops. Then you'll now be afraid of things that are not even real physical things, because demons are not real physical things, at least the human created ones, okay? Because it's connected to those low frequency feelings and emotions like anger, fear, hate, as I mentioned before. Greed is linked to the demon of possession, land and stuff that's Baal. So Baal is very old because of the old way of living, as I said, where human beings, including like royal families, were looking for land, and they will do anything, and they start killing each other for land, and sometimes they marry into each other bloodlines so they can have more power. That's the demon of Baal, wanting more all the time, and wanting territory and land and power. So Baal is actually created by human beings, okay? It's not an independent entity or being. It's created by our own greed and our feeling of not having power enough to get what we want our own way. You know, I'm trying to say, so we ask for the demons to come in and we write and agree with agreements. Like, for example, the Hollywood stars who sold their soul to the devil type of drama, okay? That kind of thing. So it's quite interesting. Like Baphomet. Baphomet is not something. Baphomet it's misunderstood and used by the Satanic Church now, but that's just recently. Baphomet came long before the Satanic Church was a thing. You understand? There's always been a separation from the light. Always has been, right? But now when people start erecting symbols and erecting institutions and creating churches regards to the darkness, that's something that's quite. I think even Aleister Crowley was dabbling into something like that as well, right? Aleister Crowley, you should know Aleister Crowley if you understand the occult and magic and stuff like that, dabbling into darkness, right? Using the dark forces to gain power again, asking Baal to help you get more money and wealth by you doing all sorts of silly things that don't make sense, using blood magic and killing and all this other thing and raping and pedophilia is very based on demonic behavior, because pedophilia goes against all morality. You understand? So these are the things. Why can I find those evil things only in the Bible and not in the Quran? I already explained. Go and read the Quran itself, or go and speak to Quran. What you call people that learn the history and learn about Quran. Go, everything's online, love. If you want to know more about the Quran, go, it's online. You can find all that information, right? And why do the most people, Christians, speak about the Quran as evil, yet things inside the Bible are also evil? As I mentioned, I answered that question already. Say I seek refuge in the Lord, okay? Say I seek refuge in the Lord of daybreak from the evil of what which he creates them, from the devil of the darkness when it settles, and from the evil of the blows in knots. I don't understand this, sweetie pie. Is that you're coming from the Bible? I'm not sure. I seek refuge in the Lord of mankind, in sovereignty of mankind, the God of mankind, from the evil of retreating whisperer who whispers into the peace of mankind from among the jinn and mankind. Jinn is also demons, right? Jinn is normally found in the Eastern philosophies. Like as I mentioned before, jinn is normally mentioned in the Islamic traditions and stuff like that, right? But that's another name for demons or daimons or demonic beings, entities, right? That's not true. That's an evil lie, not written inside the Quran. Okay, go and see it. I never say it's written in there. I said to you, go and read the Quran and go learn more about the Quran. There are things in the Quran that push negative energies out, you understand, and allow things to be practiced. Okay, and other Muslims have mentioned it as well. You understand that it's not all pure and light in the Quran. It's not. Number one, they say that Mr. Muhammad was a very jealous man, so he kept his woman dressed in black so no other men can see their beauty. That's why they cloak them in black. You understand? So if you call that of light and love and trust and peace, then I don't know what is light and love and trust and peace. When you can't trust a woman that you decided to bring into your life, they must cover themselves in black clothes, so the other men must not see them. And the same Muhammad that had allegedly, according to what the Quran said, he laid with a 12-year-old child. They not condemned, they allowed children as young as 12 to have sexual relations with men. I mean, a man can marry a child at 12. Because remember, 12, 13, a girl goes through adolescence. So they believe that when you're at that age, you can now have a baby, right? So a lot of Islamic countries have made it illegal, but others are still doing it. You understand? Yeah. Is that not demonic? Is that not evil? Is that not good? Think about it. You understand? And a man that he owns his family's wife like their cattle. That is demonic when your woman, your people that you married don't have freedoms that you have. Is that not oppression? Is that not giving a person choice as well? You understand? So as I said, every religion has its own piece of darkness in it as well. But people don't question that. People don't look at the good things in their religions, and they don't question the other things that don't seem so cool. Right? A woman couldn't drive for many years in these countries because she's a woman. A woman couldn't own business for many years in these countries as well. They own recently in the modern world, they were given the rights to drive. I mean, in Saudi Arabia, one of the royal daughters, whatever, got to drive after years of not being allowed to drive because number one, you drive and give you independence. Independence means I own myself. So if somebody owns you like cattle and you don't have independence to go places without being accompanied by men, not because of safety, because you belong to that man or to that family, so they must now watch over you like your property. Don't have freedom. The atrocities are a lot. There's a lot of them, a lot of these things that are so-called demonic. You understand? So I don't understand, why do we have to protect our religions? Speak the truth. It is what it is. It is what it is. It doesn't mean that your religion is bad. It means that there's certain things in your culture and your religions that are not so good for every single person, because in both these religions, men are always the head of the home. The head of men is always the most powerful being. You understand? And a woman are treated like their property. Why so? And then you call it godly, you call it loving, you call it kindness. When you're dressing all the women in black because you are jealous, you're afraid the men are going to come and see and find them attractive. You don't trust the woman that you choose to marry. So you dress her and you black her out, basically, in black. Okay? There's no perfect religion here. There's no perfect life expression. There's no perfect ideology, because we have darkness and light all intertwined in all our religions and our philosophies. You understand? There's no perfectness here. So nobody can stand on the highest mountain and say that my belief is the most superior, most perfect. No. You understand? No. Because there's no such thing here. In this reality, there's duality. There's darkness and light, and every part of our reality has darkness and light. Men are instructed to live with their wives in kindness. Yes, with kindness. So you living with kindness, good enough, right? But why would you allow her not to go out on her own? Why will you allow her the things that you have access to? Why? Until she fights for freedom and democracy and all those other things. And this played out in the Western world as well as in the Islamic world. In the 20s, women were not allowed to vote, right? Women sort of screaming for votes. You understand? Now, what I'm trying to say, I'm not saying that Islam or the Quran, even if it's all about badness. I'm trying to tell you, all our beliefs have a little bit of darkness in it. You understand? Oh, yes, I knew a lot of Muslims when I was younger. I had the privilege of living amongst them. Very loving and kind people, okay? But these Muslims were not the original Muslims from the Arab countries, you understand? These are the Western Muslims that intertwine the Western way of life with the Islamic way of life, okay? If you go up North Africa and go up into the Arabic countries, you'll see it's different. Totally different. All the freedoms that women have in Western Muslim countries are not seen in those areas of the world. You understand? That kind of thing. But anyway, it is what it is. It's part of the culture. You know what I'm trying to say? Your culture will always be intertwined with the environment where you are at. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like now in Saudi Arabia, if you're a woman, I know South African women that went to work there and they had to wear their abaya, but they're not Muslim. You can't go to the airport without their abaya on. Even when you're leaving or coming into the country, that's Arabia, right? Saudi Arabia. Okay. So these are the things all linked to their culture that they have, right? Somebody said, no, this verse is mistranslated. It means separation, not hitting. Oh, okay. All right. See, that's the story with these verses and stuff like that. They can be mistranslated. They can be, and most of them are mistranslated because remember the Bible is written through history at different times by different people, and they scribed it and stuff like that. It's like you having a manifesto of who you are and a manifesto of what your group of people will be practicing, okay? And then each 20, 50 years, we rewrite and add more things that need to be added. Like, for example, a simple thing with Christianity, right? Simple thing with Christianity. The rapture was not mentioned in the original teachings of Christianity, but only later on. Tithe was not written in the original teachings of the Christianity, but only later on. You understand? So there's always going to be some sort of a translation change or loss of translation or adding certain things when it comes to religious teachings. The Quran says, none of these things you speak, that's not true. Lavi, go do your own research, my lovey. If you are Muslim and you read the Quran, my love, then I will say, yes, you're right, you understand. But the information I got is when I did my research around other people who are Muslim who've left the Muslim church and speaking about the teachings that they had to abide to. Do you know that the Quran goes, you pray 5 times a day? Is it 5 times a day? And it's recited. It's recited. I had the impression that you prayed your feelings each time you prayed, but then I learned from other Muslim people that you recited. It's prayers that you recite first time, second time, each time you pray, all five. It's different type of reciting. And there's nothing wrong or right about that. It is what it is. That's the thing that I got to learn. A lot of people don't even understand it. You cannot speak if you have not lived it, and you cannot speak if you have not researched it. Okay, that kind of thing. So what I'm speaking here is it's not truth per se. It's what I understand, what I've researched. Okay, so if you feel that you don't agree with what I'm saying, it's fine. Go do your own research and find out all that I'm saying. Okay, because it doesn't really help you saying something. I don't believe what you're saying it's wrong, but you don't know yourself. You haven't done the research. Go and do the research. Okay, so if you are Muslim, then let me know that yes, I am a Muslim. I practice this, so I understand it, and this is what I know about my own religion. But if you're speaking about somebody else's religion, then you can't say this is concrete truth. Okay, so as I said, disclaimer: I'm not a Muslim, neither am I a Christian, but I have been in Christian church. I've had partaked in a Christian lifestyle. Okay, I was part of the Christian church, very, very dedicated. But I've lived with Muslims. I've never changed my religion to become Muslim. I've always tried to understand it and learn about it, okay? And I'm learning all the time from other Muslims as well who have walked away from the Muslim church. You understand? So I'm not here saying that what I'm saying is truth and that's it. No, I'm giving my own opinion and what I got to understand about the Islam religion, right? And we both know both these religions are based on wars and forcing people to change over. When the Islamic religion came about, the north part of Africa from the Arabia upside, right, to the north part of Africa, they were forced to convert to Islam. So I'm saying forced to convert to Islam, even in Asia, like Turkey. You understand, parts of Turkey or most of Turkey is Islamic traditions as well. They were forced by blood. The Ottoman Empire was Islamic, so it forced and converted every person and every group of people around it to follow Islam by war, forced by violence. Same as with the Christian church. There was the Christian uprising when they were forcing people to follow Christianity. It was forced by war, by killing, by blood. You'll be isolated, the kids out of the environment you're staying. You'll be killed if you don't follow the new religion called Christianity. The Crusades, you understand? So both these religions, as I said, are not all pure and white and innocent. There's a lot of polarity around it, you understand? Where there's darkness, there will be light. Human beings are not pure, white, and innocent, no matter what religion they follow. They will always have some darkness inside because of greed, or feeling lack, or feeling shame, or feeling in need, empty, feeling not good enough. When you don't feel good enough and you're feeling empty, you're going to have hatred and jealousy for other people that you deem to be having a better life experience than you. You'll be chasing property because you don't feel enough. You don't feel good enough. You're chasing to own things and you're willing to do anything to get that thing. And then you make contracts with demons like Baal and stuff like that. You understand? So we are human beings, but we are not perfect. No matter what religion we follow, because we are not perfect beings, and we carry our imperfections into our religions and our ideologies as well. So you have to work on yourself. It's not the religion that's going to change you. You have to change yourself. You have to step up for yourself and change yourself. And then you able to make your life experience better, not the religion. When I was in Christianity, I was depressed because I was struggling. I was in strife. I was feeling powerless. I was feeling out of control. I couldn't control my life. You understand? I was depressed. But I had to move on with life. The person will think that person's not depressed. Sometimes depression can be covered with just doing, just living. A person will never think that you are depressed because a person will come to you and say, oh, how are you doing? And you say, yes, I'm fine. And you're moving on, you're going on. Because you're not going to tell every single person, I'm feeling down now. I'm struggling at home. I'm struggling financially. I'm struggling in my relationships. You're not going to tell people that, are you? And it doesn't mean because you are following a certain religion or any philosophy that you're not going to have life stresses. You'll be suffering from depression. You understand? I find that now that I walked away from Christianity into spirituality, I'm learning more about myself and my relation with the so-called God, the God that I believe in, the creator of all things, source, the loving God that doesn't give me, how would I say, doesn't give me rules and regulations. He allows me to be who I am and to learn to love and accept myself, who I am. I can never be perfect. I don't have to buy my way into heaven. Sweetie pie, you know the shocking part about the Muslim culture or religion is the death after death, okay? You're supposed to be very pious and follow the Quran and follow the way of life, right? Don't drink. Drinking is not supposed. It's not even supposed to be allowed. You're not allowed to drink. You're not supposed to be promiscuous, but they're still promiscuous. You must give tithes. You must do that Mecca, what you call privilege to Mecca at least once in your lifetime. You must give help the poor, which is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's one thing that I love about Islamic religion is that they're so giving, right? However, back home, other things are happening because they're humans. They're not perfect. Your religion doesn't make you a saint. You make yourself a saint by deciding that you're going to work on your weaknesses and work on yourself. You understand? There's no religion that's perfect. Yeah? May you be a Hindu, may you be a Christian, may you be a Muslim. There's no perfection because this is a place of duality. This is a place where darkness and light coexists in one place. But we as individuals have the choice, the gift of choice, which is beautiful, to choose which part we're going to express, the darkness or light. Right. So as I said here, if you're a New Year white poncho and you are interested in this type of topics, you might not agree with what I'm saying or agree with my opinions, right? But I deploy you, my love, you to go do your own research. Go and do your own research and take away the emotions out of this thing and look at it more objectively in an objective way, and don't immerse yourself emotionally to anything. As I said, you got to have a place where you're an observer. You're not too emotionally invested in any religion. You're learning about it. Then you get to understand, okay, there's some things I didn't know about this religion that I'm getting to understand now. Okay, they are promised, my lovey, when Muslim man is following all the rules and regulations of Islam, and when he dies, he's promised what? He's promised 72 virgins or something like that. He's promised as much alcohol as he can have as possible. That was shocking when I found out that, and how I found it out by other Muslims that are speaking about it online. That people don't know the after story, don't know the full totality of most of the religions, even in Christianity. You promise 2 days in Christianity, right? If you're good, you go to this heaven where you live forever with the grace of God, okay? In this a beautiful place called heaven. And if you are sinful here and you pass, you go to hell, right? In Islam, you promised the afterlife for a pious, abiding, obedient Islamic man will be 72 virgins and all the alcohol you can drink. And yet, in life, you're not allowed to drink alcohol. You understand? Although they still do it, but it's against your religion per se. Right, but I think smoking it's not so because I see them when I was there. I lived in Dubai for about a year and a half. I mingled with the Muslims, you know what I'm trying to say. I lived amongst them, very interesting people when I was there, you understand. And I saw how they smoke. It's terrible. I mean, like their smoking is another level. It's another level. It's up there. The shisha and the smoking in general, it's another level. I've never seen something so immersed in their culture. But now I see in the Western world, people drink having more of the shisha and stuff like that. Okay, because it's allowed apparently, but only the alcohol is not allowed. Okay, so yeah, we're speaking about not criticizing, but we're speaking about other religions to understand them better. There's no saint religion. There's no religion where it's perfectly dandy and it's all white and love and kindness. No, it's not, because we're human beings. I'm not ignoring your points, my lovey, white poncho. I'm not ignoring your points. I'm reading and I'm speaking about them. And I love the fact that you are giving your opinion. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. None of your knowledge propaganda is written inside the Quran. Okay, my babes, thank you for that. I do appreciate what you're saying as well. I do. I want to know from you, White Poncho, are you a Muslim? Are you a practicing Muslim? Have you read the Quran? Are you from a Muslim background? If you can tell me that I, Miss Boyce, I am a Muslim practicing this, and I live in a Muslim environment, and what you're saying is totally wrong. Right? This is what is right. Then tell me that. Okay, but if you're coming from a Western world who never had any information from of the Muslim world and been there and stuff like that, I want you to understand, my lovey. I am not criticizing Islam. I'm not attacking Islam. I've got a lot of Islam people, friends. I admire the culture. I admire it to a certain extent, but it's not pure and white, all of it. Same as Christianity, same as even people that are practicing the Asian other religions like Hindu and stuff like that. Even the Buddhists are not perfect. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. So this live, I was speaking about demons and daimons, and we started speaking about Islam and stuff like that. That was not the point of my live today. I was talking about dark entities and the concepts of dark entities, right? The birth of an entity starts with a thought, which is quite interesting. A simple concept of thoughts. What are you thinking? Is your thoughts high frequency or low frequency? Every thought is considered a form of energy. Every thought is a form of energy. Right? Every thought is a form of energy. That's also not true. Every sentence you speak is a lie and can be found inside the Quran. Okay. That has also nothing to do with Quran. Why are you saying things that can be found in the Quran? Lie, I have a holy book here. Or you got the book with you. Are you an Islamic person reading it? Are you practicing it? Okay. There's also not written in the Quran. Okay. So, Mr. White Poncho, thank you for your input, my lovey. If you're interested in this type of topics, go ahead and follow me or subscribe to my channel, okay? It's dangerous to speak so many lies and propaganda. Lovey, as I mentioned before, this is not propaganda or lies, right? It's what I've heard from other Muslim people, what I've learned online as well, and in books as well, okay? So if you find that my information, what I'm speaking about is a lie, go do your own research as well. Thank you so much. And if I'm speaking so much lies, then why don't you express the truth, right? The Quran does not say praying 5 times, but say that also from a human written habits, not from Quran. Oh, I see. But they practice and they pray so many times a day. You understand? They do pray so many times a day. I made my research and none of the things you speak is inside the Quran. Okay, I see. I don't know none of the person who was forced to believe in God's words, and God is not saying anything like force people in the Quran. Okay. So go and do your research on the spread of Islam. Go and do your research on your spread of Islam. Maybe go further. Go and do your research on the spread of Christianity as well, right? The Crusades, and that's all in history. Go and do your research. How things were enforced, where people had to force to follow a certain, because it worked like this. Our countries had no democracy as you see it now, where people voted. Powerful people, families, changed and took on a certain way of thinking and a certain spirituality, and then they forced their people to follow suit. That's how it was done. You understand? And that's just the history of mankind, not only about Islamic religion, but also all other religions. You understand? When something's enforced, if it wasn't done with violence, you were then certain rights that you were practicing or getting from the culture or society was taken away from you. Like, for example, the rise of how would I say, what they call it, the gay community and stuff like that. How people first pushed against it, didn't want it, and then all of a sudden the politicians started accepting it. America started making a democratic right for you to have a choice of gender, orientation and stuff like that, right? Like, yeah. So all these things are always pushed by someone in power, the governments, either by changing laws and constitutions or by forcing the people violently and taking their rights as well. If you don't follow this thing, then you will be killed. Basically, you understand? That's how it was done in our human history. Better read yourself instead of trusting other people who tell you things. That's true. I agree with you there, Malawi. Thank you for that. God bless you. Thank you so much, Pancho. I really appreciate you partaking in my life today. It also gives me some insights as well. I never tried to force you that my religion is right. I just say that all things are said about Quran are wrong and a lie. Okay, Malavi. Thank you for that input. I would not advise you to spread these lies about God. Okay, it's about opinions. If things are not written inside Quran, if they are not, okay. And I believe, my lovely, that's with all religions as well. A lot of the stuff and practices that people teach, right, in all religions, not necessarily inside the Bible. And sometimes a verse or a part of the Quran or the verse of a Bible was translated differently, right? So we're talking about people's experiences here, right? When somebody goes online and makes a video documentary of his own culture and his own religious experience, I cannot deny that person and say that you are wrong, because I'm not living that person's life experience. I'm listening to what they say. I said allegedly, this is what I'm hearing. You understand? But what I was trying to say to you is that all religions, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Taoism, all of them are not perfect, because this is a place of duality. There's darkness and there's light. All these religions have atrocities against humankind in them, including Christianity. Every religion, Hinduism, every religion has something that's against human well-being and against love, against the same teachings that they have there. Right? So it's very interesting for people to understand that your religion is not perfect. You are not perfect. You never will be perfect. Right? And your religion is not perfect either, because we're all here to learn and grow. They're all here to learn and grow and understand each other. So you learn about one culture and one belief and why they do a certain thing. It's about having an open mind. Right? So my channel is about having an open mind, being able to question things as well. Okay. Yeah. So I really appreciate your opinions, Mr. White Pancho. Thank you so much for your opinions, okay? But my topic today was basically about low frequencies, about demons and the birth of demons and daimons. And I mentioned two things, right? Human beings are energetic. Our thoughts are energetic because we create things with our thoughts. And when we focus our thoughts and our belief, we create things, okay? So if your thoughts is low frequency, as I said before, it's about fear, it's about greed, it's about shame, it's about guilt, it's about violence and jealousy and rage. That's low frequency. Despair and violence. That's low frequency, and that births entities, the thought forms that now get attached, connected to your aura. And those thought forms keep you down, right? And you start doing things, you start acting according to the low frequency. You start fighting people, arguing with people, being violent. You start doing things that are not normally morally acceptable, like abusing, pedophilia, and all those things. That's why when you abuse a child and keep them in a place of violence and abuse, that child in most cases will become a violent, abusive person because of the energy, the entities you transferred to the child coming from you. Because only a low frequency person can abuse a child, can sexually and physically and psychologically abuse the child, right? So that child now become that and start expressing it, and or else they will choose the opposite and opt to heal from what they went through instead of lashing out and becoming demonic and being controlled by these entities. You understand? That was my topic today as well. Right now, we are emotional beings, right? So that's another way. It's a thought form in our emotional energy also is strong enough to create these daemons or entities without bodies. Right now, Demons can have a body or they can have not a body, right? It depends. Okay. Now, the demon that's created originally, like in the book of Enoch, have bodies apparently, okay, according to the book of Enoch. And then the demons that we create as human beings emotionally don't have bodies because it's all energy. Strong emotions amplify thoughts. So the more you have an emotion of fear or worry, right, it amplifies the thoughts of anxiety and stress. Repeating fear and anger and resentment and trauma are believed to give these thought patterns energetic momentum as well. Some traditions describe this creation as thought forms. Now, if you know anything about thought form, a thought form is thoughts that have been activated and created, and then they get stuck to your aura. And we have these thought forms around your aura, your being, and they start controlling your actions and how you even relate to the world, to yourself, and everybody else. Okay. Now, there's positive thought forms and there's negative thought forms. As I told you, this is a place of duality. You find both negative, low frequency, and high frequency experiences in one place here. Even in the human body, a person is not solely evil. There's something within him that pushed that narrative, that lower their frequency, to get to that level. Maybe fear, worry, trust, hate, hating themselves, hating the world because they were abused, whatever story may be, or because they were born in poverty and stuff like that, right? Stress and strife can also cause a person's frequency to drop. Right. Okay, so let me continue here. So these thought forms that are created by us human beings, imagine amounts of thought forms we have, positive ones, but also negative thought forms. The positive thought forms are bringing more love and light into our reality, and then the negative thought forms are bringing more of the darkness, the demonic type of activities that are happening in the world. Okay, the thought forms gain strength. The more you think of something, the more it gains its strength, right? It's like how we manifest things in this reality on a metaphysical level. When the individual or a large group repeatedly directs energy into the same pattern, the thought form is believed to become autonomous. It becomes powerful, it becomes autonomous. Different types of thought forms in our culture, in the human history, human ideology or religions or philosophies. Thought forms can also be created, so-called tulpas and egregores, is I must pronouncing this right. Egregores, yes. Egregores. Egregores or another type of entity that we can create with our thought forms. Because our thought form is the simplest form, and that thought form can become a tulpas. It can become an egregore, as I said. I always pronounce this thing that was kind of difficult. Egregore, it's an egregore. And then the demons, right? And then the astral parasites in the astral field. Okay. Shadow entities as well. A lot of people speak about, oh, I can see shadow entities. I'm seeing these shadow entities and stuff, right? Because it's, in most cases, shadow entities are also created from lower thought forms because they hiding and sneaking, and they are vicious and, sneaky, and what they call it, that the word just came now in my mind and it just slipped away. But anyway, the idea is that energy begins to influence the person who creates it. So the energy you create begins to influence you. As I said, it goes into your aura, it influences your activities, your words, and your actions as well. And people say that person has a very low frequency because the person's thought forms are very, very low frequency. That person doesn't know about what we call energetic hygiene. So when you are doing energetic hygiene, you're removing all the low frequency thought forms of your aura by you simply focusing and doing some sorts of rituals or practices to try and remove that frequency. Like a simple thing like sleep and rest is another form of removing yourself from low frequency entities that are around you, because you're working all day long, you're stressing, you always thinking, you're seeing other people's thoughts about yourself is also getting attached to you. You start owning other people's thoughts about yourself. It start polluting your aura. Right now, there's certain things you can do, like breath exercises to release those thought forms, meditation, sleep, having a nice shower, or many showers, or spiritual baths and stuff like that, or just simple breathing with intention to release it. And then calm your nervous system, because thought forms also affect your nervous system. Right? The thought forms around you can affect you on a physical level as well. It affects your nervous system. Now, when it's affecting your nervous system, it's going to affect your physicality. Your physical body starts getting sick because your thought forms are too heavy. Thought forms of hate, unforgiveness, doubt. You understand? So energy is very palpable, because when you walk into a room and see somebody, you can feel their energy. If that person has a loving, kind energy, if that person has dark energy, right? So it's quite interesting. The human experience is quite interesting, especially when you walk away and you look away from the physical experience, go more in the esoteric, metaphysical, spiritual side of who we are. It's very, very interesting. When entire societies repeat the same fears, I like this. It's very, very relevant in today's world. When entire societies repeat the same fears, the same narratives, or destructive patterns, the energy is believed to become larger, right? Like we have mass fear, mass anger, endless wars, hatred between groups, extreme greed, wow, right? Collective trauma as well. Some spiritual teachers suggest that these collective energies can feel like an independent force, because millions of people are feeding into them simultaneously. Being patriotic, American people are all patriotic. Patrioticness is about my country only, and we are the most important. We are the most powerful. Patrioticness, it has a positive and has a negative. As I said, in its reality, we have both negative and positive. It's good to love your country. It's good to have a form of patriotism for your country, for your land, for your people. It's okay. But when it gets to extreme, whereby you are lashing out to other people, whereby you only want your nation to grow, only your people to grow, then it becomes imbalanced. Okay. Every single one of us, all 7 billion of us, was it 7 or 8 billion people in the world, or maybe a bit more now, all of us are connected by one source. And we're all sitting on Mother Earth for her and nourishment. We're all sitting on Mother Earth, depending on safety, depending on belonging. We all belong to Mother Gaia, okay, to Earth, okay? When you belong to a certain country and you think that only your country should be more powerful, your country should be able to be a narcissist country or oppressing other countries, then you are off balance, because every single person, every single country, every single nation has a say. They deserve love, they deserve self-acceptance, they deserve to be accepted and kept at peace, and not having lack and wars because they are a smaller country, a smaller people that doesn't believe what other people believe. Everybody deserves love here. Okay, so when I'm talking about mass collective energies, endless wars, hatred between groups of people, extreme greed, collective trauma, this is what we're going through now in this world. We have mass fear, mass hatred for other people, even for ourselves as well, because remember, you hate that person out there outside of you because you hate yourself. Once you have love, you can never hate nobody, because you have love within you, like Yeshua, Jesus in the Christian Bible. He was about love, right? About love. That's why he could never hurt other people, because he was love and he believed in love and he had love in his heart. And if it's the opposite, then you will not able to live in peace with other people when you don't have love. You're lashing out all the time, right? You're competitive. You believe in the powerful and the strong control everything, right? And you're seeking for the power and control even in your own life. You want to control everything. Your ego is driving you for every choice that you're making. That is very low frequency. You understand? Now we're living in a world with wars, with mass fear, with mass anger, with mass aggression, with hatred between groups. That group, those people are Islamic, I'm Christian, there's hatred there. You understand? So all these things, the world is a place that's very, 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 very not balanced. Although we have polarity here, but we tend to forget there needs to be a balance. We are seeking the two poles, right? But we're not finding balance even within ourselves. You have to have balance within yourself to live in peace with yourself. Some spiritual teachers suggest that these collective energies can feel like an independent force because million of people are feeding into them simultaneously. Now, Trump, most people don't like Trump, they hate Trump. So that energy that's going towards that guy is terrible, right? The hatred that you see, some people do like him for some reason. He has followers, he has these people who see him as a hero, but a lot of the people in the world don't like him. Even some Americans, most Americans, but there are those supporters as well. Now, that energy that people are sending to that guy in thought form, with their words, what they're saying, that's low frequency. Even the so-called I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, and all those things, right? All these religions teach you one thing, and that's a core vibration. The core vibration is oneness and love, right? But we always tend to judge other people, right? So instead of saying, okay, what would have happened in this man's life to make him think like this? You understand? People don't ask that question. We're not here to hate any person, but we choose to hate people because the people are doing things that we see and believe to be wrong. So our own point of view, he doesn't have the point of view that we have. So we hate him because he doesn't have the point of view we have. Right? So yeah, it's a bit of a challenge for the human mind to actually understand that oneness is everything. Right now, these demons that we're so afraid of, we are creating them ourselves, our thoughts, pushing words against other people and being hateful against other nationalities and people that believe in different things as well. As I said, sweetie pies, I'm not religious. I don't belong to any religion. I'm a scholar of spirituality. I'm a scholar of understanding the human condition. I'm not here to criticize any person. I'm speaking about things that I'm learning, that I'm getting to understand, and maybe the stuff that I'm speaking about is not true. That's fine as well. Remember, disclaimer: I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know every single thing. I am learning as I'm going as well. As I said, Mr. White Poncho, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You can join my community. Have a look at my other content, because I don't only speak about religion and stuff. I speak about self-development, self-awareness, and stuff like that. So if you are interested, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. But I'm very thankful and grateful for your input in my life. Right? I do appreciate you, my lovey. Send you light and love. Thank you for partaking in my life. So guys, I'll be on my live again tomorrow. If you are available, go ahead and connect with me. I'm now closing my live. Remember that the way you live is very important. So if you live with peace and love, you're going to be creating high frequency. You can never be a match to a demon or any dark entity, because you are thinking in higher frequency. You're forgiving your neighbor. You are loving yourself, and you're also loving others as well. You're speaking peace and light to other people. A country that's continuously attacking people is attracting demonic energy, because it's all about dominating and controlling other people. Then you're attracting entities into your own country or into your own self. That's why it's important for you to understand that you have the power over any demonic entity, because you all have the gift of choice. The gift to either choose negative or positive in this world of polarity, right? So have a great Saturday further, and be kind to yourself and others. Ciao, guys. Bye.